My name is Irene Maras and I was born in Byron Bay on 20th of August 1940. My maiden name was Ferris. My mum was Ariti Kendrotis and my dad was Andoni Firu. Dad was born in Mitata and mum was born in Frasia. On Kitira, which is down the bottom tip of Greece. They both came out separately in their very early teens to Dalby in Queensland. My parents had a mini market in Byron Bay for 55 years. They sold everything from lollies, sweets, groceries. I have brothers and sisters. There are 5 of us girls. And we had one brother who is now deceased. Maria, myself, Bettina, Eleni and Costandina, who was a twin to Jim. Well, Mum originally went to Dalby with her family, and then Dad's brother, who lived in Toowoomba, used to do a fruit run and heard about my mum and whispered to his dad, I think you should come up from Byron Bay, where he was working with his brothers, and we go out to visit somebody in Dalby. Dad ended up, he liked what he saw in Mum, so when he popped the question, Mum did not hesitate and she went straight to Byron Bay to live, and they worked together. School holidays were spent helping in the shop. If we wanted to go to the beach, we would have to go early in the morning or in the afternoon after the shop had closed at 5 o'clock. Loved Byron Bay. It was a lovely town and we used to have many happy memories as a family up at the beach, or us kids all going for a walk from the main beach around to what is known as the Pass. From 1940, when I was a baby, until I got married in 1963. And they were very, very fond memories. I can remember there used to be an excursion train once a month, and we used to go up to the corner where the hotel was, the Great Northern, and come running back to the shop and say to Mum and Dad, the train has arrived. Mum, being the very clever businesswoman that she was, would have us kids all lined up behind the milk bar, and Dad would be up around where the cigarettes were with the fruit and the lolly counter, and that was where we were all initiated into working in the shop. Oh, many memories of visiting the lighthouse. We used to walk from Byron Bay town through the pass when the tide was out, along Wategos Beach because there was no road those days, no housing, and there was no pathway, definitely no pathway. We would climb up the most easterly point of Australia, up to the lighthouse. There were some very big sandhills and we would just spend so much time rolling down those sandhills, and Mum would say to us, how come you're all so covered in sand? We were walking on the beach. We never ever told her that we would be rolling down the sandhills. I can also remember watching the whales from the lighthouse. We would just wait until the whaling season had started and we would go up to the lighthouse and watch. It used to be such a wonderful sight to see. It broke my heart later on when they were being killed. Luckily, the whaling station closed. But I also remember the feeding frenzy with the sharks with the mullet when they were running, and they looked huge. But the whales by far were our favourites. I loved school. I hated math. I loved composition and spellings. I attended Byron Bay State School. They were happy years. We used to have to catch the bus to Ballina High School. I only got as far as year 10. I regret it to this day. I wish that I had gone on. But as I said, I hated math and I hated science. I excelled in all the other things. And always on my report card was, Irene would do much better except she talks too much in class. And end of year I absolutely loved, because that was when we would be going swimming. I loved body surfing, and I was initiated into that by our next door neighbour, who was an Australian champion swimmer in the Surf Lifesavers. They dared me to catch a wave in, and I always never backed down from a dare. And I remember the first wave I caught, I was looking down at the sand and I just landed flop. They had all pulled back. I just lifted myself up and off I went again. I wasn't going to concede defeat. Getting up on a surfboard, I would have dearly loved to have done that, but my parents were very, very strict. Yeah, right, I couldn't get up now if I tried to. Oh dear. I was very lucky with my childhood. My parents were both very tough love, those days as they now call it, but we absolutely idolised them. I don't think I can remember having challenges as such. Maybe when it said that I would marry my husband, I was thinking, I'm going away from home, but I'm only going to Brisbane, so that's a plus, and I'll still be in Australia. I can remember as a young child, I was learning ballet and tap, and that was something else. I would have been 7 years old, and the circus came to town, and I immediately fell in love with the trapeze artists and the acrobats. And I promptly came home and said to my parents, I think I will join the circus. And that was when my dancing lessons stopped, because my mother thought they were a bad influence on me. And of course, being in a small town, we all knew one another, but Christmas time and Easter time, or when there were school holidays, we would have our regular holiday makers visiting the town, and many of them would come off the main highway then, especially to come and try our milkshakes that were famous as far afield as Perth. When the surfing craze had started, my sisters and I would absolutely drool over the young surfy boys, and we were on first name terms with most of them, under Dad's very watchful eye. But it was a very carefree, easy life. I didn't leave Byron Bay until the day I got married. And that took a long time for me to get used to living in Brisbane, for the simple reason the house we lived in was close to the beach, and it took me a long time to get used to sleeping without being able to hear the sea. We used to sleep with our windows wide open and the doors unlocked. My husband's name was Ellinikes Maras. He was born in Pirea, and he came to Australia when he was 14, all by himself. I think the rules that broke for me, I felt sorry for him. And I said to him, I often used to say to him, I just felt so sorry for you. And he would say, but how did you know? I said, I just don't know. You sort of used to accidentally on purpose come to Byron Bay and end up coming in to buy a milkshake or have a heart. It was his way of trying to express his feelings for me. And my sisters used to tease me terribly about How come he sort of accidentally comes from Kyoto for a drive? He's come for a reason. He's got his eye on you. So, but he was a real romantic anyway. We were married in the Anglican Church in Byron Bay by Father Gregory on the 28th of April 1963. Yes, Father Gregory came all the way through, and we weren't even sure whether Nicholas, or Nick as I called him, or Nick, or if I was upset with him, we weren't even sure whether Father Gregory and the Psalti would be able to get through, because there had been floods in the Tweed River area. We had one night at the Chevron Hotel in Surfers Paradise, and then we had 3 days in Townsville. Our room had 2 single beds, and my husband was absolutely gobsmacked. And he said to the gentleman, "How are we going to manage this 2 single beds?" He says, "Mate, you just got married. If you can't figure that out, you're in big trouble." When we were first married, we lived in Mount Gravatt, in Creek Road, because of Nick's business being in Mount Gravatt. But we only there for a short while because things didn't work out with the partnership, and that was when we decided to move to Kedron, 114 Kitchener Road, Kedron. And the minute we walked in, I just turned to my husband and I said, "This is it." We sold everything from household utensils to gift packages. Our toy window was very famous. We sold fruit and veg, we sold ice blocks, and the refrigerator, I can still remember it, was an ice box when we first went there. You name it, we sold it. But we had many happy memories there. I had the 3 children born in that period of time, and we worked, 7 days a week, 6.5 really, because we had a half-day Sunday, which we would put the kids in the car and off we'd go down to Sandgate to see my Papuinyaya, and most of my uncles lived there as well. So it was like family reunion. Missed my parents terribly in Byron Bay and the rest of the family who was still living there, but I was compensated with having family at Sandgate. Anastasia was born in 1964. Anthony was born in 1967, and my daughter Maria was born in 1969. I'm a very proud grandparent of 6 grandchildren, 1 grandson and 5 granddaughters, but I'm also now a great-grandparent of 2 little girls. One lives in Tasmania at the moment, she's the eldest one, and the other one lives in Townsville. I'm very, very proud that I can say that I am Greek. I was able to go to Greece in 1973 with my husband for the family to meet the Astraleza, that was their words, and my 3 children. And they were amazed that we were all so young, both Nick and I, and that we had 3 young children at such a young age, because by the time they would do their military service in Greece, they couldn't afford to get married. But we had a wonderful time with the 3 of them. We were able to purchase a second-hand car, and we toured all around mainland Greece, and of course we had to go to Kythera. Many people downgrade Piraeus, which was where my husband was from. His grassroots, though, from his mother's side was Durianica in Kythera, and on his father's side was a place called Villia, which is about an hour's drive out from Athens. But we had many, many happy instances, especially for my husband. He would often say to me, "Oh, when I was a kid," and he would show me where he'd gone to school, where he learnt to swim. Athens I like. I had been told that they were a little bit aloof and snobbish, but I have met many Athene on different trips on ferry boats, and as you guess, I do like to have a chat, and I've become lifelong friends with many of them. I've had so many happy conversations and memories with them. We used to just love to get off the beaten track, even though when we would go touring and everything else, we would go to where we were suggested to go, but if we sort of got lost, well, that was okay too. Favourite parts of Athens, Plaka of course, Manastiraki, and the Acropoli. The old town in Rhodes was absolutely fascinating. We visited Rome, UK, England, Scotland, Wales, Belgium. I love Spain, I love Seville and loved Cordova and Valencia. I would cheerfully go back there again at a drop of a hat. My favourite singer, oh my goodness me. I love Greek music, the old Greek music. Michael Bublé, Frank Sinatra, Harry Belafonte, and I even like opera and classical music. Byron Bay, we had the radio in the shop. We girls would switch it over to 2LM, which used to play Bill Haley.
12 o'clock rock, we're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes one. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock.
There was a big dance hall, the Sea Breeze, built up on the waterfront in Byron Bay. But we were never ever allowed to attend the dances, but we could hear the music and it was so beautiful. It would be the old time ones. Occasionally you would get a Pride of Erin come into the fore or a barn dance, and that was when you could really hear everybody enjoying themselves, and we would be just thinking, oh, if only. I used to love Clark Gable. Rock Hudson, Doris Day, Judy Garland, and Gina Lollobrigida. Oh, Sophia Loren, I loved her. Oh, Boy on a Dolphin with Alan Ladd. Oh, I loved that film. And I think that renewed my love for Greece as well. Enjoyable, unforgettable moments. One was in Mexico. My husband was able to catch up with one of his childhood friends from primary school, and he was the only one he hadn't been able to get into contact with in Greece all the times that we had been. Anyway, we went to visit them in a place called Monterey. So they decided to take us up to these waterfalls. It was a very hot day. On the way down, the kids all wanted an ice cream. So Rosie, his wife, Raphael's wife, said, we'll get out of the car and we'll go and get the ice creams for the kids, and then we'll meet you men down further. Those days, my husband was a video freak, loved taking videos. Me, I was on the camera. I loved taking photos. And of course, he had his video around his neck. I had my camera around my neck. As we were walking back down to where they had told us they would meet us, he's in the middle of the road saying, come, come, come. Why? And there was a mariachi band playing on the side of the road. And there were these three gentlemen dancing with three women, and there were two rather good-looking young men driving very nice cars, and they were Mexican ranchers. And unbeknownst to us, my husband started the video. One of the men came over and put his hand in front of the camera. And we were a little bit upset about it, but Raphael said to him, "It's okay, they're not private detectives." It turns out the men were having a day with their mistresses. And it could have been used for evidence. But the sons, I was bopping around to the music, having a great old time. It was lovely music, the music that I love. And one of the sons, who was rather a nice looking young man, came and had a dance with me. And my husband had his video on me and saying, "Wait until I show your children this." And I said, "So I don't care, you know, blow me down." Next thing, one of the mistresses came and asked him for a dance. And I said, "See, I'm going to tell your sons." And he says, "Well, I don't care." The good thing and the positive thing I think about now is that I'm still alive, okay. I'm much slower than I would want to be, and I get frustrated that I can't do the things that I used to do. But I've started to slowly realise that I'm not capable of doing these things. But I'm also thankful that I'm able to enjoy what life has dished out to me, and that I've still got wonderful family about me. Well, on the whole, I think I've led a good, clean, happy life, a full and busy life. I forgot to mention that I'm also an avid reader. I love reading and doing puzzles. I'm not a great fan of watching TV. And the only things I like watching on TV are game shows. Some of the other stuff I just can't be bothered to watch because I think it's really, we've reached that mentality. Reality TV shows like Married at First Sight, I used to enjoy. I used to enjoy The Block. I used to enjoy My Kitchen Rules. And they have all become just so trashy. That's the only word I can think of. I love documentaries. Oh, David Attenborough, he would be my favourite. And he is in his 90s, God bless him. And I hope he has many more episodes still in him. My only regret is that I didn't have more time with my late husband, whom I lost some years ago. And I miss him terribly because we'd been married for 58 years. A whole lifetime. But in that time I've adjusted. My family, I have wonderful support, and I have now, even though I was going to the gym with my husband for exercise, for his mobility, I have continued on there, and I've made many friends through the gym. Likewise from the local supermarkets, we're all on first name basis because I've been here for so long. I love Ellinikes Fones and I wouldn't miss it for quids, and I suggest anybody that feels as though they need friends, please join. I can't sing for nuts, but I have a ball. And my advice to everybody is just to live life to the full. Lead a happy, healthy life. And to my children, also, as I've always often said to you, tell your loved ones at least once a day, "I love you." Give them a great big hug and a great big sloppy kiss if it's possible, and just get on with your life and lead good, clean, healthy, happy lives.